Ah, it looks like I'm live. Always good to see. At least I'm pretty sure I haven't died yet then. I'm still live on YouTube, right? Okay, make that joke a lot, but it's kind of funny because there are people who don't know they're dead, and it happens. You know, it's still amazing, isn't it? Okay, so I'm coming on without any warning again because I'm getting pushed to do so. It's like, once again, I'm talking to myself and I'm like, okay, so that means it's time to talk to others. It's time to tell you. But the good news, the great thing is I'm feeling something different than I've been feeling. Of course, it's been a ride, quite a ride. A lot of ups and downs, and some of that I think is that lily wave that John uncovered information about, that feeds your own negativity, records and feeds your own negativity back to you. And if that is going on, well, then that would explain quite a bit. But lately I've been feeling things ease up and I've been more hopeful. Although I gotta say, I am still having trouble with EMF. If I'm exposed to it for very long, I still find I get a splitting headache. The router just, oh, and I feel drained. I had a friend over. He helped me install a Fire Stick on a TV that I have never used so that I can see YouTube on a big screen. Oh my God. Having the router on for hours, and I made sure the TV and the PC were off. Didn't realize I had forgotten to turn off the router and tried to sleep. Oh boy. It gets a little better, it gets a little worse, but I can't spend hours with the router on anymore. I just can't do it, which is sad because it means I can't spend very much time working on this stuff. You know, the production is going to be lower than I want it to be because I can't spend a lot of time at this desk with the router on and the computer on. I'm sorry. Hey, Ken. Hi, Pam. Hi. So I'm sorry about that. I'm going to see if there's any way I can safely get back to doing some better videos with better production. There's got to be a way. I think that once this is all through, we're going to have a different technology arise that's not going to hurt us, or ways to protect us from this stuff better. But I think really we need a new technology. We need to, just rethink this whole thing. I think it was, I hate to say, I think it was engineered this way. Somebody somewhere knew this was going to happen. I don't think they were human. But, that's just me, right? I do find that it helps. Somehow these things help a bit, since I've been wearing them. I don't get quite as, it doesn't happen quite as fast. Still affects me, but it doesn't seem to be as bad. A can't say it works all the way, though. I haven't found anything that works 100% all the time. So, I don't know. I think the tech is going to have to change. I think what somebody didn't realize is that once we know we're divine, we know that we can change things, all bets are off. This will change. This is going to change. I guarantee it. I'm feeling much more confident about that. I mean, I always had a certain amount of faith. But, you know, I think that's why I was feeling like, I was always feeling like a hair, like maybe there was a hair. I think it was the electricity that can feel like that. Like they say a spider web or maybe hair. I think that's what was bothering me. Why I couldn't get it out of my eyes entirely. It's like, no, it's electricity. Crappy, right? This was not meant to be used by humans. It's incompatible. Or animals. It's not compatible with our biology. Unfortunately, we're going to have to come up with something else. When that happens, there's going to be major overturn, because right now, as you know, all of our electronics coming out of China. And we know that China is not really a very nice regime. They don't really like people much. They don't really care much for their own species. If we are their own species, we got to ask ourselves, are their leaders really our same species still? I don't know. I won't debate it. You know, it's a question, though. Friend in Melbourne was refused to see her doctor because not wearing mask, she wasn't wearing a mask, even though she was exempt. Earlier today. You know what? If somebody would just, I'm going to put on the intro. If somebody would drop a message, and I guess it would be you, Pam, if you don't mind, dropping a message in MeWe. I'm going to tell you some things that came to me. I would kind of hope that maybe some of the rest of the crew show up, but they can see it later if not. Still, I'd like to give them a chance. But I didn't want this time to go by. Hey, Max Vision. Hi, John. How you doing? Yeah, I didn't want this energy to go by without sharing it with you, because sometimes I wait and try and get all of that done, and then it just kind of goes by and starts to dissipate. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to put on the intro, and hopefully a few more people will show up like John just did. Okay? And I'll see you in a few minutes. We'll be back to this in a few minutes. Oh, I believe it. I believe it, Ken. I absolutely believe it. A lot of craziness. We're going to be seeing a lot of craziness, but I've seen some, they're beginning to come out with information now. I'll talk to you when I get back, when we get back to the show. We're going to do the intro to give people some time. And then I want to hear your input. making waves and navigating a lot of Mercury retrograde stuff. Sure is. And how about you? Existential crises all over the place. Having my own. All I did last week was chase around, paper chase, getting paperwork to the right place, trying to get paperwork to the right place. That's all I did last week. Because when it's time to re-up here at the place I'm living, it's like a marathon. All of this paperwork. It huge lease. You have to sign all these papers. You have to get all these other papers from other places in. And then trying to get those organizations to cooperate and give you the papers you're supposed to have. It's really crazy. And now I see why some people leave here. I'm thinking, wow, it's such a nice place. Why do I see people leaving? You probably get really tired of some of this. I mean, the place is flooded. This is only maybe, I'm going on my third year. This place has flooded twice, 3 times actually, if we're counting, and re-upping is crazy. So, it's like it could be that some people just get tired of it and find some place a little bit easier than that, but I'm just glad to be here, and I'll put up with it because I'm glad. I don't want to have to move again for a while. Until I have the place, my Earthship or something like that, a sustainable community, then I'll move. When we got that going on, then I'll move. But otherwise, I don't want to have to move again. Oh my God, that was so hard. Anyway, it's diligence. No kidding. No kidding. Max, the price of liberty is diligence. Yeah, we got to stay awake. And people keep trying to find that snooze bar. You know what? The alarm has now become an air horn next to your ear, idiots. My grandma would say, idiots. The air horn next to your ear, wake you up, idiots. There ain't no snooze bar. Quit reaching for it. I'll slap your hand. I still got my iron pans back there. Don't test me. Don't test me. Grandma's laughing. I can hear her. She said, Grandma. Yeah, idiots. Like Bugs Bunny. What a bunch of maroons. You flunked your intelligence test. I'm sorry. And there's another person. I won't say the name, but they do a lot of ranting. They do a lot of crying and ranting and stuff. And I understand. Some of us feel like we want to do that too sometimes. Doesn't really help though. I guess some people like it though. There's a lot of fans there, and so I guess some people just love it when you cry and rant. Maybe I'll try that on a channel sometime. See if crying and ranting works for the ratings. I don't know. Maybe it would. I don't know, but it worked the same with me. But she was saying, I'm sorry, but you flunked your intelligence test a long time ago. You didn't do any research. You didn't pay attention. And now you're asking what the heck is all this about? And I hate to tell you, but you're a little late to the table, and the horse is already out of the barn. And it is. Now, the latest thing I saw was a report from Australia. Of course, it wouldn't be a report here. Wouldn't be a report from America. Hell no. It's a report from Australia. A documentary on our sea vi. Absolutely 100%. 100%. It was from a lab. And it was from the Wuhan lab. 100%. Can't be anything else. They were working on this very thing. There's special names for it too, where you take something that already exists and add more qualities to it. And that what they were working on was making certain things to where they could attack humans. That's what they were doing. And it has a name. I've forgotten the name. I'll have to brush up on all of this again. But, I will try to make sure to post it at the Woo Lounge. Somebody type to let me know this thing ain't frozen. Somebody type something. Because this thing freezes sometimes. Anyway, I know y'all are listening when you're not typing. I get that. It's just sometimes chat freezes too, and I miss a whole bunch of stuff if I don't stay on top of it. But anyway, but here's the good news is now that that's 100%, and we know that there were people who lied about this, lied their butt off, people should be able to be prosecuted for it. And we should be able to get some resolution of it. And we should be able to have some honest talk about it. Because there's no doubt at all that this was caused by, at the very least, negligence. At the very least, negligence. If not intentional. But if it was negligence, somebody's still to blame for that. And yet, there's even more. In order to protect the rep, the CCP did not give us the information in a timely manner to help keep this from affecting the entire world. Now, if it was intentional, it's an act of war. It's like CCP against the whole world. But you know what? I think the whole world should be demanding an explanation. You know, why did you let it get like this? Even if this is just a matter of incompetence, then you try to cover it up to the peril of everybody else. How many jobs lost, lives lost, livelihoods lost, ways of life lost. I think when everything comes out, people are going to want somebody to pay. Anyway, which shaman was right? We had all of these shamans that were saying, oh, it's like, bitey, bitey, bitey. It's like bitey, spidey, bitey, spidey. Donnie was right. Turns out Donnie was right. Just admit it Unfortunately, the smear campaign they did on Donnie was enough to convince people not to listen to the facts. One thing I kept saying, we cannot rely on any one personality, because we just can't rely on any one person to come and save us, or even any one group. We're going to have to be our own disclosure on everything. We're going to have to keep digging. There are people who got disappeared over all this. There are people who disappeared. I just saw a documentary on it, and it's like, there are people who are very lucky to still be around, trying to bring us the info, the true info. So if you've stayed awake, you are divine, obviously, smarter than the average bear, and have a right to feel good about yourselves, that you are not totally brainwashed like a lot of these people are. I think it's brainwashing. Most of the people that I know that were bullshitting, following the bullshit, were TV watchers, avid TV watchers. It's just an observation. I can't prove any of this. But what is hopeful now is that now that this is coming out, that this definitely was, where it was from, we don't know exactly how it was done, but there is now some light on what happened and what exactly we're dealing with. I'm not sure where the parasite angle comes in yet. They haven't come up with that yet. They haven't explained that. It may be that there is some mutation that explains that. I don't know. But basically, bat viruses were being messed around with to produce. See, people don't realize bats are actually kind of close to us. The way that they are mammals, after all, and they're closer to us than people would like to think, actually. So experimenting with bats, it's no surprise, is it? I mean, shouldn't be a surprise. And now we know that it had something to do. They were taking some things from bats and some things from pangolins. Anyway, how creative. I can't see anybody typing anything. So if you're typing anything, I can't see it. I'm sorry. I don't know how to fix that. Let me see if there's anything I can do. I don't think so. I don't see any. China is like the Ferengi in Star Trek. Enterprise is everything. That's the last thing I saw. This is the last thing. Ah, okay. Now it's moving. Okay, it just jumped. It just suddenly jumped. Okay, now we're seeing it move a little bit. Price of Liberty is diligence was the last thing I'd seen. Hi, Pam. Hi, Ken. Okay, good video by John Levy about things hidden on Google Maps and strange stuff. I watch John Levy too. He is a good one to look at, to bring up. Look at some of his stuff. The other one I absolutely urge you to look at is Praveen Mohan, because their temples in India have not been allowed to be torn down. They still have their history. They still have their historical stories. And although we think they're myths, and now this is funny. Because here in the Western world, we think our religion is true and theirs is just myths. It may be the other way around. It seems like what we consider their myths and religion and belief is actually history and can be borne out by by what's on their buildings and in their buildings. So we really need, I think at some point, Alanis Morissette will be right. We'll all be saying, thank you, India, for not letting everything be destroyed. We must have had that information in other places, and it was probably purposefully destroyed because it doesn't go with the party line. Layer upon layer of people. Yeah. Studying Australia on Google Maps. Right. There's no virus that was at Wuhan. What's the development of a V ingredient targeting C8? Right. Right. The God gene. Right. Yeah. Yeah. See, probably what I think is happening is we're going to have to rise to overcome all this. Because we've got to overcome the irradiation. I mean, I just saw them. They exploded a bomb in the ocean, like the ocean didn't have as much trouble. I mean, it's already had all kinds of trouble, and they explode a bomb in the ocean off of Florida. And then all this other weird stuff happens. Gee, I wonder why. That's something crazy, too. It's like we shouldn't be letting off nuclear bombs should be taken apart and banned, and all nukes should come down. It should be gone. We have to demand that, man. There are still people who are saying, no, we need more. It's clean energy. Clean? Clean. Radiation is clean energy. On what planet? Maybe on a planet that we don't live on because we can't live there. Because we can't live in hard radiation. I've actually had people try to tell me that. Oh, hey, you moron. You idiot. You know what? A change by in the jabs. Yeah. A lot of them. There's something different about them. We were radiated this Saturday. When? But this is what I see. And this is what I mean to tell you. I have a feeling now. I think it's decided. Things are not going to continue the way they have been. That's going to make it tumultuous. I'm not going to say this is going to be just a simple piece of cake easy. But I'm saying it's going to be solved. It has to be. Has to be. For the sake of all of us. And we cannot allow the contamination into our next destination. We have to get through this. And we will. We will. One thing they didn't count on is we're divine, and once we know it, we can do anything. Anything. Once we realize it, And that's the thing. Oh. Scorched earth policy. People are tired of it. They're not going to have the workforce to keep covering. People are, and they're going to throw each other to the wolves. This is one thing that the dark side will do. They will throw each other under the bus. They're really good at it. Oh, he did it. Oh no. Oh no. And then oh no. Oh, he did it. No, he did it. No, she did it. She did it. They'll throw each other under the bus. That's what's going to happen. And one by one, it's going to come out that they're all complicit. And then you've got it. Oh, yeah, they're probably going to try that now, is try to convince us. That was addressed, I believe it was in Falling Skies TV show. One of the TV shows I did watch a little while until it got really dark, and I said, okay, F TV again. Dark winter in USA. You guys went through the dark winter, huh? Yeah, that's what they're going to try. I don't know they're going to be successful. Hey, Richard, how you doing? I don't know they're going to be successful, though. Now, the thing is, with everybody getting so up in arms and just walking off, I think what this is doing, and there are people who are fleeing Canada, I hear, because of the mandates, fleeing to wherever they can find sanctuary away from the mandates, anywhere they're allowed to go. So, well, you go right ahead, honey. This will be here for the replay. You go right ahead, Ken. You're so far down the river because you're in Canada. I know. What you gonna do, Max? What you gonna do, John? I was gonna say, you want me to post a link? You wanna give us an idea what's going on in Canada? I want to give a hopeful message because honestly, I feel in my heart we're turning a corner. This isn't going to last. And I think if the Don, I'll be surprised if people don't demand that Don comes back before the 4 years. This, I mean, honestly, guaranteed, I didn't turn my phone off. You guys get to hear. I'm going to have a little talk with my friend and tell him. Hello.
Hey, Jason.
Hi there. You know what you could do? If you want to talk to me, you could go on YouTube right now and see me live.
Oh, yeah?
Because I'm streaming right now. And if you want, I'll send you a little link and you can come in and talk about. But if it's not, something that we're talking about, because we're talking about the state of the world right now, could we talk about whatever it is later? But I do want to talk to you, but can we do it when I'm not streaming live?
Sure can. No problem.
Thank you so much, because I've got a present for you, by the way. I have something that's going to help you. So I do want to talk to you anyway. Okay. Talk to you later.
Tell me when you're off the air.
Okay, friend. Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Never fails. I forgot to turn my phone off. Um, I just feel like we're turning a corner. We are going to win in the end. There was no question about that, because we exist in the future. Therefore, we made it. I come from the future. I know that sounds crazy, but most of my memories involve the future, and it isn't a Blade Runner future. Okay, it isn't a dystopic future. I come from a much happier future than that. And it's not a dystopia. And all of these movies about the future seem to be a dystopia, and that's a disservice. The future is not a dystopia, not for us. We're divine. I don't know. Maybe these quote unquote NBC people or background people will have a dystopia. Maybe they want a dystopia. Maybe that's what they want. I don't know. Like I said, one of my friends, she got a jab to go to a Coldplay concert. That's her choice. But her logic is, since it turns into toxic slop after 6 months anyway, and goes bad, and it just poisons you for a while, she wanted to see one last concert before whoever is stalking her finally catches up, or she dies of her diseases, has another stroke or something. I can't blame her in a way. She wants to go have some fun while she still can. Whereas I, in my current state, couldn't even do that. I wouldn't even be able to do that. I wouldn't be able to last through a Coldplay concert the way things are right now. I wouldn't be able to make a trip and so on and so forth. I would be too exhausted to be able to do all that. So maybe she has a point. If I had, I'm not going to go into the what ifs. I'm hoping to get better from this. I'm hoping to come up from this. But so far, it's been a struggle all the way to come back from all of the stuff that's going on with me. So I don't know when the next time it is I'll be able to travel and do things I want to do. But for now, I just take it as maybe that means I'm supposed to be here doing this. You're late. Well, we don't have to use a planchette to talk to you, Barry, so I guess you're not that late. Oh, you mean you're tardy. Well, we'll have to give you a detention. And the fish and chip shop actually sounds really good. I wish we had one. Can you airmail me some fish and chips? Okay. So can you just in a nutshell tell your plans, John, what you've decided to do? Or maybe Barry, what are you guys going to do, since by the 30th you're out of luck if you don't take the armful of goo. And by the way, this stuff doesn't just stay in your arm. This stuff goes everywhere. Fried potatoes and fried bread. Yeah. Fried bread's good, but it's not really good for you, though. Somebody once made corn soup and fried bread. It was so good. I think you're screwed. You think you're screwed. Yeah. Some people are saying stay and fight. Some people are planning on fleeing. Some people are fleeing the country. You guys are going to be lighter-some citizens, I'm afraid. And oh yeah, they're already having birth defects and stuff happen. And that is sad, but these people didn't do their homework, and It's true. I hate to say it, but like I said, I'm not going to name the person who does a lot of ranting, but this much is true. It is a kind of an intelligence test, and I kind of said this in a nicer way. The sheep are going, the sheeple are going to, not going to make it probably. So there is a culling process going on, I suppose, in a way, which is only going to leave people who are diligent, as John said, who are diligent. Taiwan will get invaded. Is that what you think? Perhaps, yes. 2,000 planes were canceled this weekend. Controllers, some of the controllers, there you go. How about this? We said this before. Okay, there was this question back when I was growing up, and it was a kind of a hippie thing to say. What if we threw a war and nobody came? Then what would they do? Well, this is kind of like that. Just kind of, what if they mandate something that something has to happen and everybody just says, no, we ain't doing it? What if we just say, hell no? And you're overstepping your boundaries by trying to tell us to do it. What if we say that? And what if so many of us say that society can't freaking run anymore? Some people say, oh, well, that opens the door for bots. Now we have a reason to have bots. I'd say that may be the least of your problems. Well, because people will probably blow them up too. I have a feeling people are, if they don't watch it, people are going to start taking things into their hands. Population reduction. Mm-hmm. Well, China doesn't really like anybody, I don't think so. Like I said, I think we're at Cold War with China and we don't know it. I really do. I think somebody in the CCP has said, kill them all. It's like kill most of the world. Bring them all to their knees. And only we will control the technology. Yes, we control all the electronics that you depend on. Yes, come to the dark side. We have all the electronics. Anyway, yeah, I think China is trying to take over the world. Yeah. Well, and really, from what we hear they do to their own people, Third Reich. At least they weren't doing it to their own people, but these folks do. Although they don't consider them their own people. They're religious outcasts are the Falun Gong. Yeah. The people who do the healthy practices. Participate in all the healthy practices and try to keep themselves healthy, and that's their belief. That's their enemy. Honestly, this has got to happen. People have grown so complacent. Like I said, the cosmic snooze bar has been taken away. I said it was going to go away. I said that cosmic snooze bar is shrinking. You will not be able to hit it for much longer. I said that years ago. And the thing is what I'm getting from some of my contacts, some of my guidance, and some of whom are obviously ETs, is They cannot believe people didn't wake up sooner. They expected people to wake up a lot sooner. They're literally amazed how deeply entrenched people were in these beliefs. Not as much now, but see, it's very real. Putting there's so many technologies that have been used against us. I mean, all kinds of things have been thrown at us. Those of you who are awake and still questioning things, and I don't mean woke. Woke is a whole different story. From what I can tell, woke is another plot. I really think wokeness is a plot. There you go for a conspiracy theory. Wokeness is a plot. Yeah. Wokeness is not what they're touting it to be. It's the woke people who are screwing around with all this, doing all this screwy shit. So-called woke. They ain't woke. Not really. They're not awake. Anyway, if they were, yeah. Yeah, I agree, Barry. Woke is a cult. Wokeness is a cult. Yeah, promotes cultural vandalism. That ain't woke. That ain't woke up. That doesn't mean they woke. That doesn't mean they unplugged from anything. Bullshit. Backwards talk again. Upside down inverted matrix crap again. Absolutely crap. And as far as I'm concerned, I stand by pretty much all of what I've been saying. And will the Don emerge triumphant? I think he already is starting to. It just took a little longer. People had to see the error of their ways. Okay, you've been brainwashed, and this is what you said you wanted, and now you got this, and here it is, and this is it, and this is what happened. This is the results. And they're like, but it wasn't supposed to be like this. Well, some of us knew it was going to be like this. Some of us knew exactly it was going to be like this, so we tried to tell you. But you wouldn't listen, would you? No. So now you got it. Now, how do you like it? Not much. That's a shame. Okay. Yes. Oh, yeah, they screw around with words so we can't have precise speech about anything. Because the sacred name of the goddess Isis is also a terrorist. They've got it conflated with a terrorist group. This is the thing they do. They do this all the time. They play the switchy, so we don't know what the hell we're talking about. This is the Tower of Babel. This is the Tower of Babel stuff. They babble us on a regular. People think that happened once. No, that keeps happening. They keep babbling us to where then the speech doesn't mean anything. We don't know what the hell anybody's talking about after all. Do we mean this or do we mean that? You know, is it morning, or are you mourning something, or is it just an AM of the day? I mean, it goes on and on. I mean, goes on and on and on and on. Here's the funny thing, is people are noticing that a lot of the jabbers are aggressive. They're aggressive. HARP is now an insurance company. Yeah, ISIS are terrorists. There's a whole bunch of things like that. I can't remember them all right off. But it's true. It's like they've changed the meanings of all the words so that we can't really communicate. Wokeness is really asleep, deeply asleep, and hypnotized. They're not woke at all. It's an inversion. Whole damn thing's inverted. The goddess Isis was the mother goddess. I mean, she was about life and creation and reproduction and all that. And the terrorist organization is about death and war and crap like that. I mean, it's a complete and total inversion. So we've got to look at almost everything we've been told that it's an inversion of the truth. And once you start looking at that, then you realize that what you do is just read everything upside down. And maybe that's the key. If we read everything that we've been told upside down, maybe it will start to make sense, if you get what I mean. If we look at it as the inversion that it is, that we have been told and shown inversion all our lives. John Levy's one of them, bringing it forward. Not a happy guy. You know what I noticed about his videos? I binge watched him once. In the beginning of his travels, he sounded a lot happier. As time went on, and the more he learned, he sounds pretty despondent now. He sounds tired. He sounds despondent. He sounds very like he hasn't given up, but I can hear it in his voice. He's changed. This has changed him. It's changed us all. Hello, Brandy. You will have to refrain from sharing a bit of your culture. Why? Cultural appropriation of your own culture. Oh man, and I just saw a video about this black woman giving dressing down this rich man, blasting him because of his white privilege. And then he turns around and says, "You didn't do your homework. I'm black." I don't have white privilege. I'm black. It was so funny. I laughed out loud. It's like, this woman, you and your white privilege, that's what it is. And he goes, "I'm black." So funny. It's like, that's another one. White privilege. Yeah. Jabbers are getting aggressive, and I mean, maybe it has something to do with maybe their brains are being altered. Maybe they're just watching too much TV. And by the way, we need to study etymology. There's a good thought, Brandy. That's a good thought. Etymology. And not edamame. That's what I say. Leave the edamame, because that's soy and that can hurt you. I actually had somebody say to me one time, "What do you mean you can't have soy? I thought soy was good for everybody. I didn't think soy could hurt anybody." Wow, you're woke, aren't you? Yes, I can tell. Right. Right. Okay. Yep. So honestly, I sit there and I listen to this crap go by. I don't interject unless I think I can actually do some good, because really, sometimes when you interject, you're not going to do anything except piss people off. But if I feel like anybody's willing to listen, I put a couple 2 cents in here and there. But I don't press it too hard, because If they're not ready to accept it, they're not ready to accept it. Their little brains will explode. I've seen it happen. You just go, and then they get all violent. I had one of my good friends go off on me about Trump. I'm like, I think you're going to regret your opinion one day. But, as far as I know, if probably, if the election were tomorrow, people would I really think he's not going to have any trouble if we make it that far to where we can get to the election without being entirely destroyed by this current administration. I don't think he's going to have any problem getting in if the voting mechanisms are fair, that is. And if they're not, I think maybe people are going to I think people are right on the verge of just saying, F you, you're not, to the other guy, F you, you're not our president. We're on the verge of that, I think. A lot of people just saying, you know what? I think there was something went wrong there. I told you what one of my friends looked into it and she said, if you thought you were voting and you voted for a party that you're not registered with, it doesn't count. Just remember that. You have to be properly registered for whoever you're voting for. You have to be registered as being part of their party, which means that mine didn't count either because I can't consider myself independent, which pisses me off. What is Wakanda? I don't even know what Wakanda is. I am not aware of Wakanda. I must have missed something. Yeah, people who accuse others of being racist or what they are usually mirroring. Yeah, it's called projection. I've mentioned this a lot of times. How did I used to, when I was counseling people and doing readings, and especially for my ex-husband, how did I know what people were up to? By what they were saying, what they were accusing other people of. So if somebody's sitting there and accusing you, and you ain't doing anything, you ain't doing this. So I had somebody do this to me. She ended up using her coven to do a heck of a lot of stuff to me. She convinced people that I was doing something to her, that I was using black magic on her, and I'm pretty sure she convinced her coven to do to throw a lot of shit my way. Because I know I wasn't doing it. She's just freaking paranoid. Maybe somebody else was doing it and blaming it on me. I don't know. But I know a lot of shit was thrown my way because of that. And a lot of it stopped when she died. It's kind of interesting. She's one of the people who left the scene. We actually made friends again before she died, and I'm glad I did. But after that, a lot of stuff eased up. I wonder why. It was her. She was doing a lot of this crap. She was one of the ones. It's like, that's another thing you got to watch out for. They attach like leeches. You'll get, I went through a period where that was happening. It was like, I wasn't allowed to really make friends with anybody who was legit for a while. Something would happen to break up the relationship. I think it was intentional. It was, there was a lot going on for a while. Like I said, that makes you a loner though. That's the problem. You end up being a loner, and that has its own problems. But I maintained a few good friends. Wakanda. is a fictional country in MCU comic book. That's okay. Some people believe in the Necronomicon too. They'll tell you, "Oh my God, evilest book ever written." My father was one of them. He thought it was a real book. He thought it really was. Now, by now, maybe it is, because I mean, you can actually make something that way. You could actually write something and charge it and have it be that way. But originally, it was just a fictional book. Lovecraft made that up. But what if he wasn't just making it up? What if it was some kind of a memory? Just like Star Trek may be a memory. Because my future looks a lot more like Star Trek, actually. Not exactly, but it looks a lot more like Star Trek's world of Star Trek than it does Blade Runner. I suppose there would be worlds where Blade Runner would happen too. I kind of expect there would be. And Star Wars. I'm sure Star Wars happened, and some people's minds are just resurrecting it in there. And they can't place it any other way, and so they come up with a story as a story, because that's what I was doing when I was writing. It seemed like I was remembering, but you can't say that. So, I think a lot of writers are remembering. They're not making it up out of their heads. They're remembering stuff that did happen. So, here's the real weird one. Is anybody here familiar with Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Because I just saw this on one of those That's Impossible. I think it's the That's Impossible channel. Because in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, in the first book, it was a series. In Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, one of the very early scenes was the heroes escape in a ship powered by something called an infinite improbability drive. And when you turn on, and it's kind of like the Mandela effect, when you turn on the engine, all kinds of wholly improbable things happen. And one of the improbable things that happen is all of a sudden a whale finds itself plummeting towards the earth. And it describes the last thoughts of the whale as it's looking, as it's looking at this, trying to figure out what its situation is. And but eventually, of course, it goes splat. Well, somebody found a whale go splat up on a hill, far away from the sea. And I'm like, Ford Prefect, are you there? Arthur Dent? Zaphod? Is there really such a thing? They also had a thing that was a type of cloaking mechanism called an SEP field. That stands for somebody else's problem. This is a good one. You're going to love it. People don't notice it because it's somebody else's problem. They just write it off. Somebody else's problem. Not mine. I don't want to deal with that. That's somebody else's problem. That ain't my problem. I don't want to be the one that says that. That's pretty much what it is, isn't it? We've had that already. Oh my gosh. There are people who just won't say that. They won't say anything. Nah, I ain't gonna say it. You know what happens to people who say stuff like that? Oh, and you had biting gnats in your house for 3 weeks. Yeah, see, I had biting gnats for a while. That was freaky, and I'm there like, where did these come from? So you told Rex not to accept a gift from a... Oh, do you know him personally, or are you just like a fan, or... the travels with the Wu-Tang crew. Yeah, that ain't our kind of woo, is it? No, we're different. The potted petunia just said, oh no, not again. Now if we find... Well, you know, if you find a crashed pot of petunias, you're not going to think much about it. But if you find a smashed whale on a hill, then you're going to wonder. That's a little, you know, inland. That kind of... A whale goes splat on a hill inland? How did that happen? Yeah, I don't trust... You know what? They wanted me. Voodoo wanted me really bad. They worked on me for years trying to get me to become a voodoo. That's exactly one of the things I was trying to fight too. Is no, I'm not becoming a voodoo. It's not my path. I'm shamanic. I already know that. I don't want to trade fealty to one god to fealty to a bunch of gods. I'm not trading. No, I am my own. There is a God of which we are all part because we are divine. But I'm not going to trade one pantheon for another. Even more fucked up pantheon in some ways. Now, I'm sorry if that disturbs somebody, but a lot of these, yeah, they want blood You know what? If you want blood sacrifice, I'm sorry, but I really don't want to deal with you. You're not my entity. Nope. I just don't want to deal with you. I don't want to have to do that. And I know I've heard black magicians talk about what blood sacrifice, that blood is like, gives them the power to do this and that. It's like, I don't care. We can do things without that. We don't need that. We don't need them. We are divine. When we fully realize that, they're going to be out the door. But right now they're creating havoc because people are using them. And it's like, I'm not going to be one of those people. You know, it was tempting. I was tempted with it for a while. But I just kept saying, no, 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 no. That is true, Barry. Here's another thing that we've got to get adult about. His name is Mahudi. Was it Edward Mahudi? I can't remember what his first name is. The Zunis. I think it's the Zuni Nation. He was talking about, they know all of these types of ETs. They know all of the types of ETs and their ways and everything, and they could tell us everything. But you know what? White men kept telling them they were crazy and didn't know anything. Or we're going to say Western people, whatever you want to call them, whatever you want to call people who wanted to say that they had no understanding of anything. And then once again say, well, we have the truth and all of your stuff is myth. And if you only believe in our God, your soul will be saved and blah, blah, blah. It's like, and and that's against God. It must be demons. I'm not here to argue whether they're demons or not. Yes, some of them actually do. Some of these so-called aliens do come off like demons. Are they the same thing? I don't know. Some of them sure come off like it. Yeah, Kritomutwa was another one. But that's another one. Mahudi was talking about the ones that have the horns on their heads. And all of the ones you see depicted in the dances are ETs, apparently, or other life. So the Wendigo hunters went extinct in the 1900s. So there were people who hunted Wendigos? Oh, yeah. Reptilians, David Icke, yeah. Yeah, and then we find out that not all reptilians may be bad. That doesn't mean they're our friends, but that doesn't mean they're all bad. Because some of them are local. Some of them, apparently, some reptilians evolved here. And they're not our enemy, although they are not our friends exactly. They're not our enemy. You still don't want to be anywhere. You still don't want to trespass because you're not welcome in their places. But who can blame them? The way the surface looks right now of the planet, it's beautiful but deadly. Hey, Drake. How you doing? Yeah, there is a demonic transformation, yeah. I'm thinking so too. The oil is from a person who had induced trauma. The oil. The oil. What oil? What oil? Oh, Rex. Oh, gosh. You know, I worry a little bit about Rex. He doesn't look right anymore. For one thing, he's way too thin, and his head is beginning to look bigger than his body. He's kind of looking more gray-like as time goes on. I'm like, is it just me, or has he changed a lot? He's lost some hair, obviously. That's nothing new. I mean, that happens. I'm even losing some hair here and there. But yeah, he looks different. He does not look, somehow he doesn't look like the same Rex. I don't know what to think of that. I don't know what to think of that. Yeah, and then there's the whole adrenochrome thing. That's a whole nother thing. He may need exorcism with Bill Bean. I don't know. I'm not saying he's a bad person or anything. I'm not saying anything at all. I'm just saying I've noticed that he doesn't look the same for some reason. Whatever that means. He looks very, 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 very thin. I'll tell you who else looks, and I guess he's healthy, but looks way, I mean, you know, looks matchstick thin and kind of gray-like is, oh, I don't want to get on people's cases for that because I'm the opposite direction. I'm heavy, you know, I'm fat, obviously, but, you know, I'm not trying to get on. It's just I wonder why they're looking like that. You know, it kind of worries me a little bit. I don't want to get on that. I'm not trying to be mean about it or anything. I mean, people are, you know, look like they want to look if that's the way they want to look, you know. It just, to me, looks like there's been some kind of weird, really weird change. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a good change. I don't know. I won't judge it. It just was odd because it seems like it was only a year or so ago that there was Yeah, it seems like it was recent. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, some lose and some gain weight. Yeah, I end up gaining weight with anything. It's almost anything. Bomber, missing in action. Haven't heard from her. I suspect she shows up at SOR under an alias, and I even bet I know who she is. And I have, when she has been in the chat, when I feel that she has entered the chat, I say hi, Bomber, and people say, Bomber isn't here, and I say, oh well, she's probably here in spirit, or something like that, just to let her know that she's in, she's listening, and she's even chatting. I'm betting you under another name. Maybe she got such a name. I mean, after the fallout with you know who, I don't want to go into that again, but you know, she went everywhere that somebody went and was very, very hard on them. And I believe that person had to change their name for a while, probably too. And now I think maybe she has had to change her name. I don't know. But yeah, I think you won't be hearing from Bomber. You'll be hearing from somebody, but you won't be hearing from Bomber for a while. She and a couple of other people are kind of missing right now. But I think they're around. I think they either listen or something. Something's going on with that. I will find out later. I mean, you know, yeah, see, everything makes me gain. It seems like everything makes me gain weight and my hair to fall out and my bowels to get irritable. When I get tweaked, I just, you know, everything just fight or flight. Everything non-essential goes out the door, and my body is prepared to become, you know, my body is prepared to either hunker down and weather it out or fight. So you know, I think really, and they say if you gain weight very easily and you can't lose it, that's an endomorphic body. And what it is your body is very, your ancestors probably endured much starvation. So if your ancestors starved a lot, your body's response was to get really good at storing. And that could be, I don't know. So told my friend Erin that I might have some Bloody Mary so many times that she is now affecting me. Why do people do this? Just to prove to themselves that something exists? Why do people do this? Why do young people, when they get together and have a seance, they call on powers of darkness instead of something good? I don't know. People are just self-destructive, I guess. I don't know. They like to scare themselves. I think I know, but I'm sorry. You'll have to figure it out for yourself because I can't say for sure. But what tipped me off is the description in the name. So Bomber was in a chat the other day. Which chat? People who practice dark stuff. I mean, you know, hey, you can do what you want, but then there are also the kind of people who then usually run to somebody like me and say, save me. It's like, you did what? And now you want me to tell it to go away? Why did you do this in the first place? Just curious, huh? You ever hear that thing about curiosity killing the cat? It isn't just about cats. Holy cow. Honestly. Well, see, that's just the funny thing. The pentagram was actually exactly what I was told when I first encountered a practitioner, somebody wearing a pentagram, silver pentagram. What does it mean? A witch, a male witch, by the way. Not a warlock, a witch, male witch. He said it means mastery of the elements. And as I interviewed other witches, that is what they all said. It means mastery of the elements. And that makes sense. And I already said this. If you look at feng shui, which is very old, by the way, it isn't just a new thing. It's very, very far back. You'll see that the elements going against each other are the star, and the elements working with each other in harmony are the circle. And so having that circle around that star literally would mean mastery of the elements. It's what we would call a bind rune. I am sure that's got to be where that comes from. And people will argue and say it's from all kinds of other stuff, but no, this is what makes the sense, okay? It's like it's so obvious, but they try to make it not look like that. But truly, if you look at the charts that they have that go with feng shui, it's so obvious that the elements acting against each other are the star part. And that the circle is acting harmoniously. It's so obvious. I don't know why this is so hard for people to see. I guess, I don't know. Put a line under two of the points and give it sparkle lines on the pentagram and make it represent Venus and love. Yes. See, Venus, though, wasn't always love. Venus was, there's a side of Venus that's also Medusa. Because Venus wasn't always where it is now. And when it came screaming through the solar system, it left a lot of destruction in its wake. And I'm sure the citizens of Venus weren't very happy about it either. It looks like it was knocked into orbit around our sun where it is. So, but that's a whole nother line of study. The Thunderbolts Project could explain some of that to you. Yeah. What about Ouija boards? I think the problem is people approach it like a game, and it's not. And once again, why is it this is put into the hands of children as a toy? And what kind of interest do kids usually have? Kids have a tendency to be pretty morbid. I'm sorry. You know why? Because we don't let them know about death. We don't want them to know about these things. We keep it a secret. That's why it's such a big thing with them, I think. Is like, and because they haven't experienced anything like that yet. They haven't experienced their friends dying. They haven't experienced their dog dying. They haven't experienced too much of that. So it's really kind of cool. Once they start experiencing more of it, then it's not as cool. Yeah, they're dangerous because they're an open channel. And you don't know who you're really contacting. You cannot be sure. It's like anything else. Though, I mean, you can do that with a pendulum too. You could get yourself in trouble with a pendulum. It's a lot harder. It's harder. I mean, you know, pendulum is very limited. It's yes, no. But if you go whole hog on it and you're not sure who you're contacting and you're asking to contact, anytime you're asking, is anybody there? You idiot. Idjit, Idjit, don't make me come over there. Don't make me come over there and slap you in the back of the head. What you doing? What you think you're doing? Yeah. Is anybody there? Or, oh, I want to see it. Yeah, this is just a game with some of the powers of darkness. Oh, that'll be fun. Yeah, all of this shit. It's like, why? Because they're not told the truth about any of this. So some of them it is a game, but they've already given permission. It's like, yeah, I don't use Ouija boards either. I don't want to deal with it. I'm not saying there's some people, it's part of their religion, it's part of their beliefs, it's part of their practice, part of their religious practice. Okay. But you know what you're doing. And you know what can happen. There's other people over here that are treating it like a game and getting their butts in big trouble. I don't promote it unless you know exactly what you're doing. Some people have absolutely no trouble. Some people get a lot of trouble. But you're giving your permission. Once again, I come from Ohio. If you're in somewhere like Ohio, just don't. You're not in a good hood, okay? You got an attachment after holding the box and using the spirit box in the K2. Okay, well, there you go, Lewis. Yeah, just, I'm telling you, be careful with the spirit world. It's real. Don't, I mean, I think some people are just trying to prove it to themselves that it is real. They want something to happen to prove it's real instead of just learning how to do things the right way. There's all this lore because you're not allowed to learn the right way or you're a witch or a heretic or something. So you're not allowed to really learn the truth. So I guess that's part of it. Yeah, there's always somebody. Is anybody there? Of course. Always. Yike. BFE Country Sticks phone is, yeah. Crap and Moto G has horrible. Me too. I'm like right on the edge of the country where I'm right where the small town ends off, and I'm on the edge of a bog. I kind of like it though because I don't like crowds. Yeah, I'm kind of in the, yeah, I'm getting to the, not quite in the sticks, but close, very close. I'm in the bog. I'm in the wetlands. So it's hard for them to build around here because it's so wet, which is fine with me. So and that's probably why there's Bigfoot. I swear they're around every now and then. Oh, I got another message. I think I got another message from the biggies. Okay. You ready? Because people have what I've noticed this. People with red hair, they seem to have an affinity towards them. And out in the sun, I appear to have red hair. My hair is kind of weird. I mean, see, their hair is weird. Their hair is hollow and turns different colors, depending. My hair is weird and turns different colors. I'm in different lighting. And in the sunlight, it looks pretty red. But then it occurred to me that there was another woman that was talking about how fond they were her. She's another redhead. And then another person who's another redhead. And I'm like, what's this deal with redheads? Now, I'm not saying that's the only people that they're friendly with, that they take a shine to. But obvious, to me, I was getting, they got something with redheads. Redheads mean something to them. I wonder why. Then I found out Their children have reddish hair. Their hair is reddish. So to them, if your hair is reddish, you kind of remind them of one of their dear children, and they love their children just like we do. And I'm pretty sure that's the message I was getting, because you kind of remind us of our children, which are reddish, have reddish hair. And so a mama Bigfoot, a female Sasquatch, would generally, like we look at baby animals, kind of see us as small and red furred and think of us as being kind of childlike and might be kind of protective. Just like we fall in love with kittens and puppies and whatever else. Although we are closer to the same species. In the swamplands, and I'm in a bog. Good place to live. Getting photobombed by Sasquatch. There you go. South of New Orleans, Louisiana. And you down by the swamp, down by the bayou, down in the bayou. Down there in New Orleans. I just left Carrier MS. I'm driving through the kiln. Yeah. So we're all kind of, isn't that interesting? A lot of us live in the wetlands, and we have the Squatch around us. Snuffy terrorizing the biggie Snuffy. I was calling Bitey Snuffy. Sniffy, Snuffy, Sniffly. The sniffer. Sniffer, sniffer, sniff. They call him the sniffer. Lafitte. Oh. Wow, that's lovely. I remember, Ken, when it wasn't a paradise you were living in, though. And everybody was saying, get the out of there, Ken. And then you did. It's actually a lot nicer. Thing is, though, that I hear about Australia, you got to live with snakes. They'll get in your house. They'll get everywhere. Lots of snakes. Just got to deal with it. Putty cat, good day, cowboy. Yes, my little cowboy is here. He had to say hello. Yeah, we were all hoping we'd see you the next time. For a while there, it was like, yeah, but then again, I was going through stuff. I mean, I had hobo spiders in the corners. I was living with hobo spiders. They're the northern version of the brown recluse. They're deadly. And I was just like, I was using my magic. I'm like, guys, I'm tired. That's the only reason you're not getting booted. But if one of you crawls on me, you're all getting toasted. Ollie. Don't even think about it. However, being bitten by one gives you a certain immunity to if you're bitten again. So, yeah, for me it was spiders, and then we did have biting gnats for a while, and some other stuff. We had something different at that building every single year. It seemed like we had a different plague. Ants always, all the time. Here the ants tried to start, and I got rid of them like immediately. And I got rid of all the spiders. And I said, sorry, but you're going to have to find a different home. This isn't the one for you. Yeah, the machine gun. I need I need Bomber's blowtorch, blowtorch drone, torch drone. Venomous creatures in general. Doesn't it make you wonder? Well, at one time, now this is my theory, just a theory, but considering that at one time things were huge on this planet, huge, maybe the creatures shrunk but still maintained their level of venom. Because really, if you got a tiny creature with venom strong enough to kill a megalodon, what does that mean? You know, I mean, you got a drop of something that can kill, 20 elephants or something. What does that say? Or the snakes too included. I mean, what does that say? At one time, they had to kill something much bigger. Yep. Oh, you never had snails at the last place. Snails. Yeah, could be. Yeah, well, you know what you do if it's snails, you catch them and eat them. Escargot, steam them. They're good. I've had them. They're good steamed. Not slugs, though. You don't want those. But yeah, snails are good steamed. Just eat them. Eat them before they eat your plants. That's the way to go. Just go, oh boy, dinner is served. Sometimes I wonder if that isn't what people were doing with some of these dishes. It's like, hey, you're eating my plant. Okay, fine. You gonna eat my plants? I'm gonna eat you. How's that? You know? It's like, you're me. That's got to be how people were eating it. I mean, no, there's still people that eat ants, spiders, all kinds of insects. Yep, garlic and butter. Yum, yum. I've had them before. They're actually tasty. Sorry. Sorry about your luck, snails. You're tasty. I think we're starting to see monsters. You know what? And I'll tell you why. Eggshells stop snails. You know what? Diatomaceous earth should do it. But I don't know why you're denying yourself such a wonderful food source. Come on, people pay a good price. $50 in a fancy restaurant for that kind of stuff. Diatomaceous earth will take care of it, Ken, if you get yourself some of that. Diatomaceous earth will take care of most insects. It cuts them up. Yeah, I think we're starting to see monsters too, actually, Barry. Yeah. I think we'll see more. The partitions between the dimensions. That's going to be real woo. Here you go. People all the world, join hands, get on the woo train, the woo train. Okay, here's my little ship of woo. We saw when we were looking with a remote vision, Micah and I could see very clearly that there are rents all the way through the partitions between the dimensions. And this is how some of these creatures are getting through, I'm sure of it. And what's causing it is nuclear explosions. It's rending the veil between the worlds. And actually, we've been warned about this, that the nuclear explosions are affecting others, not just us, not just our world, but others too. And so this is why I think we're seeing some of the things we never saw before. Some of them have just been here and people just discounted it, that's all. But some of the things that are weirder, it's because there's rents in the partitions. It's like if you have partitions in your computer memory too. And as a matter of fact, that's how an antivirus program blocks off harmful files, is it partitions it off. Well, yeah, the virus would be trying to blow holes in that to let things in that don't belong there. Of course it would. We are looking at this, if you look at it like a computer, like the internet and a computer, it looks similar, very similar. I mean, this, it's another argument for simulation. Guns are illegal in Canada. Can't shoot road biggies and other monsters. So you got to come up with a crossbow or something, I guess. You got to hit the crossbows. You'll have to come up with something besides a gun that's not a gun. The same gun laws as Australia. You know what? And they've tried to do it here in the U.S., and we have very stubbornly put our foot down every single time. And then people try to tell us how stupid we are. It's like, no, we're not stupid. Look, do I have to tell you, idiot? There's a reason we have a First Amendment, Second Amendment. There's a reason we have a Constitution. There's a reason we got a Bill of Rights. There's a reason we got all this, is because we need it. Okay, we need the right to bear arms, not just to hunt. No, there are people who have really researched this. Very clear. The reason that we need it is in case our government gets out of hand, because they knew that could happen. They even talked about it. There are people who researched this, and it is very clear. It's for if our government gets out of hand, guess what? They are. And that's why they're trying to take the guns away, is because they know that's why. And they don't want it to be that way. But, tough guys. Yeah, our ancestors already figured this out. That's the first thing you're going to try and do, is disarm everybody so you can F us all over. I'm sorry, but you guys might have to take flamethrowers and hand axes. Who knows? You guys are going to have to come up with crossbows and I don't know what else. You're going to have to come up with something that ain't guns that you can have, I guess. Because they done took yours. Oh, Lord. What? Self-defense is illegal? Ah! Ken's in Australia. Oh, my God. It's illegal? Yeah, they want to disarm the police here, too. They're not getting it. And yeah, Canada belongs to UK. The star of what? Sure, I didn't say start, or I can't remember what I said involving a star except a pentagram. The star part of the pentagram is that is elements working against each other. This part is the elements working in harmony. And that's the seal that you cast. It literally means mastery of the elements. Maybe I need to do that again too. Maybe it's coming up again because I need to start putting that seal around again. Yeah, when the planets change places, plasma discharge. Yeah, and that might have caused the Grand Canyon. Yeah, there's speculation that that might have been the Grand Canyon. It's illegal to beat up a pedophile? Oh. Well, you know, there's other things you can do to pedophiles. Don't quite kill them. I ain't advocating any of it. Huh. Yeah, are they allowed to sue you for doing things to them? I can't believe they took your guns. I can believe it. I can sure believe it. Like I said, you better get yourself something. I'm sorry. But, you know, the good part is once we get past this part, it looks like this is a test, you know. This is a test. This is our test. Are you going to wake up and change the world, or are you going to go with the stay with the inverted matrix and let it turn into Blade Runner and worse? Oh, really, Brandy? I'm bleeding. I just scratched something and I'm bleeding. Uh, something bit me. Yow. That's the woke folks. Yeah, it's just sit him down somewhere, keep him from hurting anybody, and it just happens to be fire ants. uh, yeah, are Molotovs allowed, or crossbows, automatic crossbows, dart guns? Oh, gee, that's a gun. How about blow darts? Oh, it's legal to infect someone with HIV. You're letting people. God, how am I? Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of things. You know, I feel that these problems, like I said, I've been to a lot of open air conventions and stuff. And it's funny how when people are banding together, how these can be huge. I mean, thousands of people. And the most crime is usually just petty theft. The crime at these things is just usually petty theft. Why? Everybody's armed to the teeth, or could be, has the potential to be. Men, women, everybody. Everybody might be harboring a weapon. Because back in the old days, women might be harboring weapons in their jewelry, in their hair, in their bosom, in their corset, and their, women harbored weapons all over the place because they had to. But beyond that, they also had, you also had to answer to their male kin as well. You had to answer to their kin. And they still do that at some of these fairs. You have to answer to their kingdom and their kin and their king. And they each have their own system of honor. And guess what? You signed an agreement when you went to that event. You signed a waiver. And their justice is their justice. And actually, I found that most of the kingdoms were pretty fair with their justice. They weren't horrible, a lot of them were pretty fair, but a lot of them were pretty tribal. They would do things that you would consider pretty tribal. Like, one of the things that you'd be putting stocks and driven around on a wagon, and people would be allowed to throw things at you. And they would be telling people what you did. That's one of the ways they would punish people. And petty theft, though, it was kind of rampant because there were so many people. It was hard to keep up with all that, right? That's the thing. I don't think dogmen are evil. Yeah, we need to hire us some Bigfoot. What will you guys work for? We need to give you a couple of deer every now and then. Maybe a few pigs, cow or two. What do we have to pay you in order to get you to be our security guys? Because you'd be a hell of a bouncer, dude. I don't think anybody much should be arguing with you. Yeah, I mean, if we were friends with them, we might be able to get something going. But we'd have to make it worth their while. I named my cat Kanga because he hopped around and stood up on his back legs a lot. Went up on his back haunches a lot, like a kangaroo. Right. I believe you, Drake. Yeah. Well, Bigfoot don't necessarily all eat humans. Most of them don't, in fact. Most of them don't eat humans, as far as I can tell. Some of them do, though, as far as we can tell. Once again, looks like some do and some don't. They're different. Different areas. Different areas have entirely different kinds of, I guess they have their different societies, sort of like we do too. I mean, some places it's okay to do one thing and not another. So I guess, no, they're not. Unfortunately, Brandy, they're not. We haven't found any that are. We haven't found any vegetarian biggies yet. That doesn't mean there aren't any, but it's highly unlikely to find. I mean, by all accounts, they are meat eaters. Could be wrong, but they will raid dumpsters at fast food places. They've been known to do that. Now, here's an interesting thing. When they exude that smell, this is another thing that we found from people telling their stories over and over and over and over again from different parts of the world. they can emit a smell that'll keep things away. It smells like all of the bad things that warn you to stay away from an area, right? You know, death, decay, garbage, blah, blah. When they don't want you to hang around, when they want you to not be there, right? And the interesting thing is when we used to hang out in the place where we did our ceremonies was a park, and we'd be kind of sneaking and being there at night, and there'd be a certain time we'd smell something, and but it would be traveling. It was like it would come in and then it would go. And we thought, because we were near a river, that we were thought, are they releasing something into the river, maybe sewage or something? Because it kind of smelled like that. But I think now that was a Bigfoot going by. Because the biggies tell me, if I can rely on what they're saying in the mind speak, that they've known me all my life. I just haven't known that they have. I didn't realize it was them. So I didn't realize that's who I was talking to all this time. And one of the reasons they noticed me was my red hair. When I was little, it was much more prevalent. So, well, Drake, good to see you again. I miss you. Don't make a stranger yourself. Powder detergent for ants, yeah. Yeah, and cornstarch they have trouble with. Baby powder. All kinds of powdery stuff that sticks to, and borax. They don't like borax. If you have, once again, another use for 20 meal team borax. But, you know, really, we're talking biggies. It's funny. There's still a mystery to some, but really to other people, they've been at this so long, and we've heard so many stories that there's kind of a picture that's emerged of what's really going on with them. And if my mind speak is correct, that's really what's happening, because people will ask questions about them, and these thoughts will just come into my mind, and then I have to kind of translate it. But yeah, because they tell me that they've known me all my life. They've brought things up to my mind where we were there then, and we were there then, and we were there then, that I'd forgotten. I totally forgot these incidents even happened. But as they come to mind, I'm there like, that was you? It's like, that was us. That was us throwing pebbles on the path, warning you to go back the other way. That was us talking to you in the woods. You were wondering who you were talking to, nature, and you were talking to us. And one of them feels, I believe one of the females seems motherly. One of the ones that is talking. There's also a male, though, and they have their own ways. But the ones around here, they are not human eaters. So, yeah, we need to stand up for our freedom of speech and every other thing. Oh, hi, Gemini. Okay, let me see what I'm missing. Actually, I heard that YouTube is removing content that talks about the jab. Yeah, Ken's already got himself shut down a couple times. Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, we won't say it. Yeah, we might get by in chat. I'm not going to repeat it. Hi, Jim. Hug, sissy poo. Love you. Trying to leave YouTube. Yeah, or have YouTube change. YouTube is so ensconced, it's like Facebook. I'm almost thinking they're going to have to change. We've tried to have alternatives. Like MeWe, there's not very much in MeWe, though. It's not the same. It's just not as popular, and it's hard to get the same, to be able to do the same thing to reach enough people. I'm kind of thinking of going back to Facebook on a very limited basis, just my pages, and not have anything personal there. Do Sasquatch know that I dream about them emerging from water? Mama D. A lot of things emerge from the water. That's true. Do you guys know about that? Ask the ones in Canada. Ask the Sasquatch in Canada. That's an interesting answer. And a laugh, kind of funny. Okay, funny. Jibbity jibbity. Probably. Yeah, I'm getting probably. They do. If you're interested in them, there's a reason. They're probably interested in you too, for whatever reason. Getting lots using that word. Jabberwocky. Yeah, beware the Jabberwocky. Somebody else is calling it a schmax. I'm calling it getting vacated. Some people are calling it a vacation, permanent one. Might get a permanent one. Vacated. You don't want to get vacated, do you? Do you really want to get vacated? Yep, Jabberwocky or Smacks, whatever you call it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I really think by Christopher Lee. Wow, yeah. 'Twas whirling on the slithy toes, did gyre and gimble in the wave. Omnimsy were the burrow groves, and the mome raths did outcrave. I can imagine. I don't remember. I think I kind of remember hearing that once. It was a good one. Yeah, because honestly, when you think about it, it seems like many ETs are mind speakers. They're somewhat telepathic on different levels. And we are on different levels. Some people are real good at it. Some people are not so good at it. We're the slow kids right now. We're the slow kids on the block, but some people are pretty good at it. And it probably is easier with somebody that already accepts it, believes it, and etc. As a matter of fact, twins claim, there are a lot of twins that claim to be telepathic. There are also some people who claim it too. Close friends, sometimes couples, although they don't even realize it, are telepathic. All of us feel the collective consciousness. That's a kind of telepathy. all empaths to a certain extent. It's not exactly telepathy, but it's similar. Saruman. Yeah, that was Christopher Lee, wasn't it? Wasn't it? Yeah, he was great. Now, oh, he has a great voice, yeah, for that. Wonderful voice for that. Yeah. Oh, the Sasquatch up there will eat people. Oh, well, yeah, see, that happens. See, that's just the thing. They're different in different areas. The ones around here say they don't. Now, the ones around here say no, they don't do it. They don't because, well, see, we have a lot of nice waterways and cool forests here that you could, if you were a biggie, you could probably make yourself a nice little place near water and have yourself a nice time. Plus, there are a lot of ravines, deep ravines here, which is where they love. Lots of thick underbrush and dense trees. They love that. And who knows, maybe even the bog. Maybe they really like the bog. I mean, the bog is another unique feature. So, this place has got to be Sasquatched. I've got a picture. Now, it's not a picture of the Sasquatch, it's a picture of them cloaked, but you can see their shadows in the trees. And people who don't even believe in this say they are Sasquatch-like shadows in the trees. So I believe that what we are seeing in this picture are cloaked Sasquatch. So, oh, and by the way, another thing I was going to show you is if you want me to put this link in MeWe, it's on Rumble, and Rumble is a different format. I may have to move to Rumble. We may have to move to Rumble to be able to really talk. Yeah, Ken says, I didn't think I had any yowies here, but I've seen their wicker structures at the beach, little yowies. I've been told live here knickknacks. Knickknacks. Haven't heard of them. Little yowies. And the yowies aren't very good, are they? The yowies aren't really good ones. Now that you're home and on a computer. Rita is my Sasquatch friend. Oh, got a name for him. Well, that's cool. I'm not getting any names. Mine around here seem to be about 15 feet tall, some of them. Between 10 and 15. I think the average is like 10, 12 feet. Some of them 15. I'm from the look of them. Getting that branch up in that tree, they'd have to be pretty damn tall. Okay, that's all I'm saying. And big. I mean, really big to do some of the things they do. I mean, and I guess that's one of the reasons I haven't seen them. I get the feeling they don't want to scare me. Yeah. But like 10, 12 is probably an average. And then, some 15 footers. Very tall. Probably males. Yeah, I heard they can get up to 30. Mm-hmm. So ours are just kind of medium-sized, maybe. They're not the really big ones. Although, I gotta say, I do have a spirit that shows up, guide. I don't know what to call him. And he looks like, the way he's dressed, he looks like a Native American. But he's huge. People have seen him all my life. Psychics have seen him and told me about this guy all my life. And he goes by, we call him Blue Hawk. It's not his name. But Blue Hawk, we don't call him by his name. Not supposed to. Blue Hawk is huge. He's huge. I mean, his head grazes the clouds. He's big, and he dresses like a Native American. So, and he has something to do with the portals, the portal system, the portals and gates. So, and it's hard to translate that stuff. Yeah, the hairy man Yowies were called. Yeah, we're called Yowies. Dad called because Need in his state said Mississippi hospitals are full from it. You mean full from the coof? They weren't full here either. Oh yeah, thylacines alive and well in your area. And yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Most of us found the same thing. Hospitals were not being overrun. Maybe one or two places, probably in the cities. I'm thinking probably in the cities, which is where this crap thrives anyway. But if you ask me, cities are festering crap heaps anyway. I don't want to live in one. Cities are asking for trouble. You're piling too many people together. They're dirty. They're polluted. I don't like cities. I don't think we're meant to live that way. People pack too close together. Too much pollution of all kinds, electrosmog and everything else. What do you think's going to happen? You know, to me, it's obvious. Whereas, guess what? Actually, I need to mark the places somehow, but it's on Rumble, where this doctor is talking about it, all kinds of things having to do with this. And he's talking about how there are none of these types of viruses that like fresh air and sunshine. They all hate fresh air and sunshine. They can't live in it. All we have to do is get out of in city and out of in buildings and spend time out in the fresh air and sunlight. And if they let everybody go to the beach and they let everybody go outside to have their picnics and whatever, it'd kill it. That's what this doctor was saying. They can't live with that. If it is really some kind of a mutant virus, then that's, but you know, it responds to everything that is for, it responds to everything that is for parasites. I'm still not quite sure what that angle's about. Uh-oh. Okay. Orchards, probably. I gotta go for a minute. I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. I hear something and feel something. Be right back. Hi. Okay, I'll tell you what happened. Just all of a sudden, I'm sitting here and I hear a click. I was like, what was that? Not cowboy. And hot air is blowing on me. Like, hot air? I didn't turn the heat on. It wasn't cowboy. See, he told me it wasn't him. Right, I believe you, cowboy. But just really hot air. And I looked over, and sure enough, the heat was on. I didn't turn it on. Either something with the tech is going screwy, or maybe we have a little small time, like a haunting. Maybe we got a little paranormal activity. I'm going to have to check that out later. Or is somebody trying to send me a message? The heat is on. Maybe. Yes, Mr. Cowboy. Yeah? What do you want, baby? What do you want, Cowboy Katie? What? Something bothering you? He started meowing. Lewis, I keep telling you, I am the Ghostbusters. It's what I do. All these years, it never occurred to you that all these times I've told you I do that. That's what I do. I clear up problems for everybody else. Sometimes I need a little help clearing my own up, though, because I'm too close to see it all. You're funny. What? Cowboy? Oh, he won't let you do that. Hey, that's my wicker couch, Cowboy. Just because you've got adoring fans here does not mean you can sharpen your claws on the wicker couch. Okay, he stopped. Yeah, he doesn't let you pick him up. He might someday. Remember, he's kind of new. We're still building up that trusting relationship. Aliens in Hollywood are all looking octopusy. Like, I'm not going to say that word, but yeah, the graphene. Now, here's the thing. That's another thing I was going to mention. There is something about jellyfish. Okay, so the jellyfish is immortal. Here's another thing. Just want your opinions, want your stuff on this. The jellyfish is immortal. It's one of the immortal sea creatures, and I hear that it might be barring accident, they don't die. They only die a tragic death. They don't die a natural death. Something eats them or something. But I think there are a couple of things like starfish and several things like that are like that. And the thing is, we think they're trying to come up with immortality. And that might be part of what this was about. This goop. This dark goop. Might not even have been our species coming up with it. Might have been the one beforehand, or might have been one from out there somewhere, or in there somewhere. But what we think is happening, what I think is happening, is There has been reports by some whistleblowers, one of them being a surgeon that was given ETs to cut up, to dissect, said one looked like, was clear like a jellyfish, but man-shaped. It was very weird. It was human-shaped, but clear like a jellyfish. And they were really trying to figure that one out. However, here's another thing I've noticed. There's this sea life sort of emphasis lately. And part of the emphasis is even in a game. There's a game I play called Fleet Command, Star Trek based. They brought in a ship called the Jellyfish. And what they're finding in the goop, it turns into these little tentacled things. Now, I've encountered the tentacled things in the astral, black tentacled things. I've spoken about it. I did shows on it, talking about my experiences with it in the astral. This could be the physical version of that. Night, Max. Have a good night. So the clear jellyfish, yeah. I know, Ken. What are they saying here? See, that's just it. I was seeing these things way back before the Resident Evil films. In the astral, though. We were fighting these way before that. In the astral. And they can take over people. You want to see a picture of what an entirely taken over person looks like? You can look at the works of Alex Gray. You'll find a being that's entirely black tentacles. That's what they look like when they're entirely taken over. Now, there's a story that I remember from where I come from one of the worlds that I come from, that I've lived on, about the people. Basically, people raided the planet they were taken over by parasites. They were acting the way they were because they were taken over by parasites. I was writing about it. I was writing a story about it. I never got to finish that story. A lot of my writings just disappeared for various reasons. Had stuff happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah, look like jellyfish. Now it's interesting because we know that a lot of USOs, unidentified submersible craft. We know, I have been saying for years, I said this maybe 35 years ago, they've got bases. They are around the Great Lakes for a reason. What if it's because they have bases under the sea? Why wouldn't they? Well, under the lakes. We can't go there. It'd be a perfect place to hide forever. Oh, that's cool, Ken. You need to film those. You need to get those out to us. We want to see them. I've got one possible orb. It's bright green. It's against a black asphalt background. I'll have to get that out too. Anyway, I'll have to find some of these old pictures. It's hard to find some of it. I've been through so much. I mean, people have stolen stuff and stuff has happened, floods and everything else. Paper doesn't do well in floods. Neither do the electronics. Oh, cool. That's cool, Brandy. Yeah, that's another thing, orbs. People have been seeing a lot of them too. I'm thinking orbs are tiny spaceships. Kind of like that. They're tiny ships. Remember that size can be distorted. This is a matrix. They can be any size, really. I mean, it may not translate. Just like time is different. Yeah, I want to see it. Because I haven't seen a lot of them myself, just a few. I saw more when I was a kid. Didn't want to talk about it. Learn not to talk about these things. But you can never be sure that some of those little fireflies that you see aren't actually little orbs, some of them. We have green ones here. We have both the yellow and the green kind. We had only the yellow for a while. Only the kind that glowed yellow, and now we have the kind that glowed green too. And some of them look like beetles, and some of them look a little different. Some of them have red on them, orange red. Well, night, Brandy. Yep, I'm thinking of closing it down pretty soon. We've been on 2 hours, and I need to limit my exposure anyway. So I'm thinking of closing it down anyway. But the jellyfish thing, I think that's real. Yeah, there's something going on with that. There's something going on with it. Because I've seen the squiddy things in the astral and was attacked by them. It was funny. It was like they were throwing themselves at my third eye. And I was sitting in Mark's waiting for a bus. I was getting heavily attacked at that time. And they were just, it was like they were either being flung or were flinging themselves at my third eye. And it was so intense that the lens kept falling out of my left glasses. Out of my glasses. I kept having to put the lens back. It was that hard, although I couldn't tell, people couldn't see it. I was the only person, and then some of my friends who could see this, and I was alone at that point. So, but they're dying. They're like flinging themselves at my third eye and dying immediately. So then it looked like, I'm seeing them piled up all over the place, dead. And I'm thinking, boy, it's a good thing people can't see this. Because if they could, it looked like the set of a Stephen King movie or something. But, you can't say that to everybody because they'll think you're nuts. But other people can see these things too. not just me. If somebody else with sight was there that day, boy, they would have seen a sight. And I'm there like, what are they trying to do? What is this? Why is my lens, these very glasses, it hasn't happened since. But it was these exact glasses. The lens kept falling out. I was just getting smacked so hard all the time. It was weird. That was the outward manifestation of it. So this kind of stuff can happen. But I think somebody was just trying to communicate. I feel that somebody was just kind of trying to communicate with me the heat is on. What do you think that means? Well, the heat can sometimes mean the police. And there's that song, the heat is on, the heat is on. Maybe it means it's go time. It must mean something. I'll have to peruse it later. I'll have to think about it later. Anyway, I'm about to call it quits. We've been on for 2.5 hours, a little over. And that's enough exposure for me. And I want to go check out a few other places too and say hi to people. A couple of people on my list. And he wants me to call him back. So ISD, like luminous eel things everywhere in the ether. They seemed harmless enough, but saw them each trip. Oh, LSD. Okay, well, yeah, that's a little different, I think. The harmless ones. Yeah, it's funny how people on LSD see the same thing that psychics see. Isn't it? I got exposed to it, and as far as I could tell, this is why I think they gave it to a, was it one of the holy men of India, or maybe a Tibetan monk or something, and it had no effect on him. Well, probably because that's how he sees anyway. No effect because that's all the way, that's how he is. That's how he sees. So, anyway. Thanks. I'm glad to see you too, Jim. And we'll talk again, sweetheart. I hope everything is going okay for you. And hugs, everybody. I love you. And as long as I can come in for a little while and then go off for a little while, I'm able to still keep doing this. And I'll bring you whatever I got, whatever occurs to me to bring. And I'll keep posting things in our MeWe so that you can see some of the things that I do and make up your own mind. Tell me what you think. And I'm very happy to have you here with me. I appreciate each of you so much. Please give it a like. And please leave a comment when it comes up later. And this is Ocean Making Waves. Now go out and make some of your own. Yeah, I know you're very capable of it. And remember that you are divine. The truth is where you find it, and I hope you're finding some here. I'll keep trying to bring it to you as often as I get hold of some.